Good morning. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon. We are talking about money in the United Kingdom given to the British people who need such a help. We are talking about the medical assessment, continuation of this video, of the other videos in this video of how to claim the money when you are a sick person. We are looking at medical assessment for universal credit, which is a type of benefit in the United Kingdom, where when you are in the process of claiming the benefit, then you are required to provide information for finer details about where your assessment is, because by way of processing the benefit, you fill out a form as a process. Watch this video and the rest of the video on this topic, and when you do that, you are given a medical assessment by somebody called Association Health Assessment Association system or something like that. I will give you this acronym if you like, because they are a body which is responsible for working for the UK government to provide health assessment, which is a process within the claiming of the money for people who are considered sick or who are making claim as sick people. And I've actually mentioned this previously in the other videos. So if you're watching this video, watch it with the rest of the video. And thank you so much for helping this channel, and for participating, leaving comment, and for sharing with family and friends watching the same videos in this one and the rest of the videos in the channel, and supporting the program generally, sharing with family and friends, and clicking notification bell, clicking like, and engaging with the program, subscribing to the YouTube channel. If you have done so, you have done a wonderful undertaking. And if you haven't, and kindly subscribe to this channel so that it helps the people who create these contents. And if you like it, if you don't like it, you can still do something positive, because some out there might like it. And we are a community, and we are actually a society of humanity. We are one another. We are our brothers and our sisters keeper. We are our brothers and our sisters keepers, and we are a community, like I said. And this is part of the propositions I have made going forward, and also in the course of this program. I have said we are lacking behind as a people. We lag behind the concept of culture, the cultural requirements, where we are our brothers and sisters keepers. We live for ourselves. We also live for other people. But the teaching now provided by politicians and bad politics, in my opinion, is where we society is being taught to value individualism more than communalism or family, so that we have become selfish and very dangerous to ourselves and to other people. This is my survey and my critique of our society today, which is why what goes around come around. If we sow good seed, we reap good seed. If we sow evil, we reap evil, and no peace for the wicked. We are to be good people. We are to be friends other than strangers. We are to speak truth to power. We want to be nice to people. That is our choice. If we want to avoid telling the truth because we want to be liked, that is our option. But there is a price to pay for doing the wrong thing. Let us not be fooled. We cannot mock life. We cannot mock our life. We cannot mock truth, because the truth will always prevail. And when we learn the truth sets us free. That is the heart of this program, to teach humanity, including myself, manners, be a good person. And whether you like it or not, discipline is number one. If you go onto the street and behave like an idiot, you're going to be murdered on the street. And it is happening. I'm not making it up from my mind. from the top of my head, this is the reality on the street in the United Kingdom where I am. Across the globe, there is a lot of violence. Adults are fighting adults, children are fighting children. And this is wrong because people get hurt. And we don't want to tell the truth. Israel, why is Israel fighting the Arabs? Because they don't know what they're doing. They are actually insane. And this insanity is produced by cultural failure. And we need to change. We need to really start working for peace. And I've been examining in this incident of poverty in the United Kingdom, one of the richest countries on earth. Nobody in the United Kingdom should be poor, period. Not today, not tomorrow, not in the decades. All things being equal, if there is wealth, it has to be shared. The rich are getting richer, multimillionaires and billionaires. They don't know what to use money for. They literally throw money away to waste it because they are so rich. And there are people who are dying because of poverty on the one hand, and there are on the other people who are dying because of excessive wealth. Greed is killing some people, but need is killing some people. What kind of world have we created? And this is the kind of commentaries I've been making. At the same time, just looking at policy on benefit. Because the reason I'm looking at policy, because policy in one area is similar to policy in other areas, including in healthcare, education, immigration, you name them, environmental issues, the issues of society generally, transportation, development. So if you understand what I'm talking about, if you got familiar with, it will not only help you if you need help, especially if you're now working, because some benefits are actually with employers. Some benefits are with energy companies and water companies. Some benefits are with other charitable organizations like food bank. Because this food bank is a form of charitable provision. And where I work at the moment, we are giving more and more food voucher to people who need it. Therefore, let us not really misunderstand the idea of benefit, because I really know the British people are extremely proud, and so are the rest of the world being proud, not wanting handouts. Nobody wants to be, given something as if they are invalids. Everybody wants to be free to stand on their own feet and do their own things. And that is the idea. I honestly support that, and I believe in going forward in the future, we will resolve these issues, these conditions, and become free. And become our own bosses. And also accessing technology to improve our livelihood. And that is the way forward. I believe we can do it. So when I talk about anything on my program, I'm talking about peace, I'm talking about prosperity, I'm talking about happiness, whether you're a child, whether you're a youth, whether you're an adult or an elderly person. So it may be difficult for me to explain things I want to explain. It may also be difficult for people to understand exactly what I'm talking about, but that is okay. And do what you can, enjoy what you must, and leave a comment below, let me know, because what you tell me by way of engagement, and if you don't feel like being engaged, that is fine, but in my duty is to actually explore these topics in the process of managing my project, this platform, to the extent that YouTube is still available for everyone, and particularly for me. But if there is no YouTube, because now going forward without YouTube or social media, I will be speaking one way or the other about this issue subjects, because I am actually taking it seriously. I'm so happy that I started this program, and also going forward to carry on doing the same. So what else do you need to do to prepare for the assessment? You have to plan what you need to tell the assessor, the health assessor. That's what they call themselves, health assessors in the Department of Work and Pension. And so you're going there, you're going to plan, sit down, write down what you need to tell them, and what else, and plan what else you need at the assessment. So prepare basically what you're going to want there, how to get there. How to get there, and if you have a phone or video assessment, you need to ascertain whether they're going to phone you or video call you. If you can't go to your assessment, you have to consider what you need to do. If the Department of Pension decide to change your decision to, if you think the Department of Work Pension should change your decision, you challenge it, and also check what happens after the decision, or if you are waiting for a decision, what you need to do or what not to do. If you can't work because you are sick or disabled, and you will usually have a medical assessment to check if your universal credit should change, and reporting, for example, change of circumstance. We have discussed that before, and we will be discussing this going forward, because this information are a lot to take in and also changeable. So they are updatable. Go to the Department of Work and Pension website to look at it. Go also if you're in the UK. Well, you are not in the UK, because our websites are actually global, World Wide Web. That is what it is. You can, as long as you have access to the internet, you can access it from anywhere. So you can go to Citizen Advice public website, or any of the charities in the United Kingdom, or even in Europe, in America, because the systems are similar. What happened in the United Kingdom happens in the rest of the world because of globalization. And with it, something like cooperation, states are cooperating with one another, they are harmonizing. What happened here systematically is going to be similar globally. So it's a good thing. And everybody has to take advantage of what is being provided within or without the United Kingdom. If you are a member of the global community, thank you so much for your support. Continue watching, and therefore, if you can't work because you're sick or disabled, you will usually have a medical assessment to check for your universal credit and whether this will provide some element of change in what you are claiming. If you need an assessment, you will need a letter about it after you have sent the form about your health condition or disability. The form is called Universal Credit 50 UC 50. This information are repeatable, and there is no offense there at all. And if you come below, you feel something is wrong with this dispensing, and I'll go forward. Going forward, I will actually have a thought. And if you want to be quiet, if you want to watch, if you don't want to watch, it's okay. The Department of Work and Pension, the DWP, will use the assessment to decide if you can't work or get ready for work at all. Call Limited Capability for Work Related Activity, LCWRA. We are getting familiar with these in acronyms. Limited Capability for Work Related Activity and Limited Capability for Work. We are getting familiar on this program because I've actually mentioned it a bit, and keep tuned. Let's carry on with this process, and stay tuned here and be with me while I continue with the dispensing of this process. If you can't work now, but can get ready for work in the future, call Limited Capability for Work, meaning also that in the meantime, while waiting for when your condition improves significantly, you'll be preparing for work when it happens. Training, this is our actual government policy, and for those who have watched the previous videos, and I'm not arguing whether or not it is easy or not to follow these videos, because there are quite many. That's why I will be repeating some of the points anyway. In every video, the key point will be repeated, and that's a good thing. And for those who actually committed to watching my video may find it tedious and thinking probably I'm repeating these things willfully, which I do. I repeat it willfully for the interest, because potentially in a week there are going to be over, I think, about more than 100 million every day accessing a YouTube channel. I think every day. Leave a comment below if you have another statistic, so you can check where your assessment is, which is a normal thing to do for every normal person. You'll get a letter from the Health Assessment Advisory Service uh, uh, they are called HAS. They're called HAS, HAAS, HAS, Health Assessment Advisory Service. So they're really telling you when and where uh, your assessment is, and also you should get at least 7 days notice before the assessment. And these are some of the normal things procedurally. And in terms of practice, the assessment might be a few months after you return your universal credit form. You will keep getting universal credit until the assessment. And the amount you get won't change. If you're still waiting for a letter after 3 months, call the Universal Credit line or tell your work coach. The number is online with the government website, with the other charitable organizations which actually pray to support government policy on social program. This I have said before, I repeat them just here. You can use Relay UK with an app or a text phone. There is no extra charge for this to use these facilities. Find out how to use Relay UK on a Relay website, UK website. And a lot of this information are actually contained on the website. Visit the same. Use this video as a platform to access other further information. So you can also have you can find out how to use Video Relay on YouTube. Believe it or not, their opening time is from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Calls are free from mobile phones and landlines phones. So you can check your assessment. Where your assessment in the letter will tell you if the assessment is at an assessment center, or on the phone, or on a video call. If you can't do the assessment the way they have told you, you can ask if they will do it in a different way. You can also ask for another adjustment or take someone with you to the assessment. If you need a change of the assessment or ask for adjustments, you place this request to the Health Assessment Advisory Service as soon as you can. If you wish to the assessment without telling them, if you miss the assessment without telling them, they will decide you can work. You might only be able to change the date once, so make sure you get a date you can go to the assessment. For example, you can have your calendar with when with you when you call or check beforehand with dates you can't or do an assessment. Continue watching. Thank you so much for your help, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to this channel. Leave a comment below. Share with family and friends. Click like, click notification bell so that you don't miss any more when I send more videos. You should also ask for any adjustment you need. For example, go up and down the stairs, get out of a chair in a waiting room, move from room to room. If you can't travel to the assessment center, you can ask the assessors for a phone or a video assessment. You don't have to give any new evidence to show why you want to change the assessment. They will decide based on what you tell them and the evidence you have already sent. If you couldn't do a phone or video assessment, you can ask for an assessor to come to your home. You will need to give them evidence to show why you can't travel. For example, you can give them a letter from the GP or another medical professional. Thank you so much. Continue watching. I'm looking at how the process of assessing health or disability requirements for purposes of accessing benefit. The Health Assessment Advisor Service telephone number is to be found on the website. You can access the website, gov.uk, or citizen advice of your locality or any of the advisory services. You can also check what to expect at the assessment. Your assessment will be with an assessor who is a medical professional, like a doctor, a nurse, or a physiotherapist. The Department of Work and Pension calls them an approved healthcare professional. The assessor will ask you questions and might do a physical examination. They will send you a report to the Department of Work and Pension, who will decide if you need to work or get ready for work. The assessor will talk to you about your medical history and activities you can do in a single day. They will also ask questions to find out how your health condition or disability affect your ability to do a range of everyday activities. If they want to do a physical examination, they will ask your permission. You should also do as much of the examination as you feel comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with anything, say so. Don't make yourself do things in an assessment that you wouldn't normally be able to do. If you do them on the assessment day, or the assessor might think you can always do them. This is some of the guidance in relation to assessment processes, which assessment processes are actually needed for the Department of Work and Pension, a government department, to decide whether or not they can give you money for your health condition, or whether or not to give you money for your health condition. So if you want to take someone with you, you can ask someone to come to the assessment with you, for example, a friend, a family member, or a care worker. Thank you so much. Continue watching. And if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel. And if you need any feedback, leave a comment below. Or if you want to give an opinion or suggestion, leave a comment below. Click notification bell so as not to lose out on the next video. Also, click like, subscribe to this channel to support it. Thank you so much. You might also want them to support you or tell the assessor things for you if you find it difficult. For example, they can talk to the assessor if you have a mental health condition which makes it difficult for you to talk. They can also take notes so you have your own record of what happened in the assessment. If you need to challenge the Department of Work and Pension decision later, you can use the notes to remind yourself about what happened. Thank you so much for watching. If you want your assessment to be recorded, the health assessment advisory service might be able to make an audio recording of the assessment. For example, we might want them to record it so you can remember what you said later. If you want your assessment recorded, call the health assessment advisory service as soon as possible. You can find their contact details on the letter about your assessment. Thank you so much. Continue watching. I'm talking about money and how to claim this money from the government in the United Kingdom. Health Assessment Advisor Service details are to be found on line gov.uk and the rest of the other organizations. If you watch this video, watch with the rest of the videos. This is the continuation of what we discussed recently about how the government works with the benefit system. How you would prepare to tell the assessor. As you go to the Department of Work and Pension to do assessment, it is always necessary for you to figure out what you're going to tell them and how to prepare what you are going to tell the assessor, which are professional, as I understand it, possibly also a medical doctor, physiotherapy. They are approved by the Department of Work and Pension. It is important to tell the assessor about all the challenges you have so they can make the right decision. You can write a list of things you need to tell them and use it during the assessment. You will need to tell the assessor what a day is like for you normally, how often you have good and bad days, what kind of things you have difficulty with or can't do at all, for example, walking up steps without help or remembering to go to the appointments. If something gets older, the more you do it. For example, if you can only do something once a day. For example, the assessor might ask if you go shopping in a supermarket. It's okay to tell them you can't do it. It's also okay if you find it difficult or unpredictable, or if you need help. If you don't tell the assessor, they might assume you can walk. In the process, that will create situations. You can walk around the supermarket on your own whenever you need to. This may actually indicate to the health assessor that you are probably not as sick as you should be for the purposes of getting benefits. If you have a copy of your universal credit at 50 form, you can check your answers on the form to make sure you don't forget anything. If you're going to an assessment center, there are a set of things you may be required to consider. You'll be assessed as soon as you arrive at the center. The assessor will also ask about everything you have done that day. For example, they might ask you how you got to the assessment center. If you say you came on a bus, they will make a note that you can travel on a public transport. Tell them if you had any difficulties getting there. If someone else helped you plan your journey, using public transport is sometimes difficult. The assessor might also ask how long you sat in the waiting room before the assessment. If you say half an hour, they will make a note that you can sit on an ordinary chair for at least 30 minutes. Tell them if you found it uncomfortable, if you needed to get up and walk around because you couldn't sit for that long. You should also tell them if you can only manage it on some days. So communicating to the assessors are extremely important. It's something, if you are trying to get help, is extremely important to take consideration of the dynamics found within the process. Plan what else you will need at the assessment. These are additional information you will need to support your capability throughout the process. You will need to show identification in your assessment. A passport is usually the best. If you don't have a passport, you need 3 different types of identification. You can use your birth certificate, your driving license, a recent bank statement that shows your name and address. You can also use other things like a gas or electricity bill. You should also have with you any medication you need, any aids you use, for example, glasses, hearing aids, or walking stick. A copy of your UC50 form if you have one, a travel receipts, and bank details. If you're going to an assessment center, this is so you can claim your money back. You can also take extra medical information to the DWP, which the DWP must not have seen. For example, bring any letters from your GP or specialist that came after you sent your UC50 form. If you're going to an assessment center and as you were, you need to keep the original letters. Take copies for the assessor. Plan how to get to your assessment. Think about how you will get there before your assessment date. You might want to allow extra time if you find traveling difficult. Plan your route so that so you know what to expect. This might help if you find being in public places stressful. Ask a friend or family member to help you plan the journey if you can't do it yourself. Book your travel in advance, claim back your travel costs. Using car costs, it will be necessary for you to claim your travel costs back. You can get your travel costs paid back into your bank account. The receptionist will help you fill in a claim form. You can also get the cost for anyone who needs to come with you. If you need to travel by taxi or you want to claim expenses for someone else, tell the Health Assessment Advisory Service before you book any travel. Continue watching. Thank you so much for your support. So if you are traveling by public transport, you should keep bus tickets, train tickets, tram tickets, any other tickets or receipts that show you paid to use the public transport. If you're traveling by car, you can claim back your fuel and parking costs. The Department of Work and Pension will decide how much to pay for fuel based on the distance from your home to the home assessment center. You should keep your parking tickets and for receipts. If you can only travel by taxi, you must tell the Health Assessment Advisory Service if you need to get a taxi to the assessment. A healthcare professional will look at your request and decide if you have a medical need to take a taxi. If they agree, you can claim back your taxi fare. In other words, you need to arrange with them if you need any extra or special way to travel there, as long as it incurs cost. If they agree, then you can actually implement such an option, in which case you will be able to claim back your expenses. If your request is turned down before your assessment, the Health Assessment Advisory Service will only pay the cost of getting to the assessment center on public transport. So if you have a phone or a video assessment, make sure you are ready to take these at the agreed time. If your assessor doesn't call, tell the Health Assessment Advisory Center Advisory Service. You should also tell the Department of Work and Pension, add a note in your online account, or if you don't have one, call the Universal Credit Helpline. In other words, if they fail to actually do one thing or another in terms of appointment, it is your responsibility to be on the safe side to inform the Department of Work and Pension or also the Health Advisory Service, Health Assessment Advisory Service. Their details are online on Gov.uk and on the rest of the places. I've already mentioned this here, and I've mentioned it as well. So their opening hours are normally Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. On Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Their emails are also there. And there is something called Universal Credit Helpline, which is a telephone helpline. You can phone that to find them on gov.uk or on other citizen advice public website, locally or nationally, whatever works for you. Continue watching. Thank you so much for your support. I'm great you came. As always, you can find also how to use the video relay on YouTube. Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Calls are free from mobiles and landlines. So if you can't go to your health assessment, call the Health Assessment Advisory Service and postpone your assessment. If you have a good reason for not going, for example, if you are ill, have a family emergency or a family emergency, tell the Health Assessment Advisory Service so that they are aware. If you don't go to your assessment without a good reason and don't tell the Health Assessment Advisory Service, the Department of Work and Pension will assume you can work. Details of the Health Assessment Advisory Service can be found online, gov.uk, and the rest of the other website, as I've mentioned in this video and in the other video. So if you get in the Department of Works and Pension decision, the Department of Works and Pension will send you a letter or add it to your online account. The letter will then tell you that either you have limited capability for work-related activity, LCWRA, or that you have a limited capability for work, LCW. Acronyms I've already mentioned over and again in this video and in the video previously recorded. If you don't have limited capability for work, this is also will be included in the report. If they say you have limited capability for work, you won't have to work or do anything to prepare for work. You will also get extra money with your claim. For limited capability for work-related activity, it's about 390.06 a month. The extra money will start in your next universal credit payment if either you are terminally ill, you already had a limited capability for work or limited capability for work-related activity from a previous benefit. Otherwise, you will start getting the extra money in your fourth or fifth payment after you first gave the Department of Work and Pension a fit note. The Department of Work and Pension will hand the money to your monthly payments. If it takes longer for the Department of Work and Pension to decide, they will backdate your payment so that you don't lose out. If you have already moved to universal credit from another benefit, your payment might not go up by the whole 390.06. This might happen if you claim universal credit after you get a letter from the Department of Work and Pension telling you to claim universal credit by a certain date called a migration notice. I've discussed a migration notice previously in the other videos. Continue watching this material alongside the rest of the material posted previously, under which this is actually a continuation. So if you got a severe disability premium with your previous benefit, you might already be getting an extra amount in your universal credit. Talk to an advisor to find out how your payment will change. If you didn't claim universal credit after either of these things, you can check how much universal credit you'll get when the extra money starts. You can look at something called work allowance for limited capability for work-related activity. You can earn some income without reducing your universal credit. This is called a work allowance. Check your work allowance is included from the start of the award. The law isn't clear when the allowance should start. If the Department of Work and Pension include it until later, if they don't include it until later, you might be able to challenge the decision. We have already discussed how to challenge the decision or when to do so in something called limited capability for work, in something known as mandatory reconsideration, or perhaps also your case may be going to an appeal. If you want to challenge the delay, you can get specialist help from the expert advice team on the internet. If you're waiting for your limited capability for work payments, there is often to be recalled from even the previous video I posted. There is a 3 months waiting period until you can get a limited capability for work related activity elements. The element being extra money you get in addition to standard allowance of universal credit, unless you already have limited capability or limited capability for work related activity or terminally ill. The waiting period started when you first gave the Department of Work and Pension evidence having limited capability for work. In this situation, you may get your payment early. So you are entitled, if you are entitled to limited capability, to the limited capability related activity element from the start of your first full assessment period after the 3 months period waiting period. In this situation, this can affect also how you get your payment. If your payment also include the limit capability for work, a related activity element from the end of the assessment period. This will also impact how you get paid. These are some of the factors. So if you are actually claim, and if you manage, if you are actually someone with a managed migration, or as a severe disability premium, a transitional element in this situation, and your payment might not increase by the whole limited capability for work related activity element, because your transitional element will reduce as other elements increase. This is called erosion. So thank you so much for watching. Continue watching. If you are going to calculate the limited capability for work related activity element in work, then you can do so using one help or another, and also the work allowance, and you can check how to work out the amount and the timing of the limited capability for work related activity element and the work allowance. If they say you have limited capability for work related activity, therefore you won't have to work, but you might need to do some work related activity, as I said before. You will also get extra money if you have had limited capability for work since before April 2017. You might have had a limited capability for work because you are getting either universal credit with limited capability for work, employment support allowance ESA until you claim universal credit. You can find out more about the work-related activity you will need to do on universal credit. So let us talk also to look at work allowance for your limited capability for work. You can earn some income without reducing your universal credit. This is called work allowance. You can check work allowance if it is included from the start of the award. The law isn't clear when it should start. If the Department of Work and Pension don't include it until later, you might be able to challenge the decision of the Department of Work and Pension, otherwise known as mandatory reconsideration. If you want to challenge the delay, you can get specialist help from the expert advice team on the internet. If you are calculating the limited capability for work element and the work allowances, how to calculate the same, you can work out the element out the element in the work allowance elements. If they say you don't have limited capability for work, you will need to do any work related requirements. You have agreed with your work coach. You can find the requirements in your claim and commitment. If you think the Department of Work and Pension decision is wrong, you can ask them to change it using some forms of challenging mechanisms. If you think the Department of Work and Pension should change their decisions, you can ask the Department of Work and Pension to change these decisions if you think they are wrong. If your health condition or disability got worse, this is within the requirement to report change in circumstances. If you think the decision is wrong, you usually have to contact the Department of Work and Pension within a month after the decision date on their letter. You might still be able to challenge the decision after the month if you couldn't do it earlier. Find out how to challenge the Department of Work and Pension decision. If the Department of Work and Pension don't change their decision, you can ask them to change your claim and commitment. If you have a good reason, if you are appealing, have a good reason, and if you have a good reason and also considering to appeal, you might be refused a limited capability for work and related activity, limited capability for work or limited capability for work related activity if they don't go, if you don't go to your assessment or send information to the Department of Work and Pension for and ask for what they have asked for, the information they have asked for, such as medical evidence. If you have a good reason for not doing this, and you can ask for a mandatory consideration. So, what is a good reason? It might not. You might not. The good reason might include not getting the Department of Work and Pensions request. For example, if the Department of Work and Pension have the wrong address, or your client, or you have had previous problems with airports, or perhaps if you have been in the hospital or out of the country, and so you might need to show evidence of this, like a hospital admission letter. So if you are being perhaps too ill, and if this is because of your medical condition, and you can ask if you can be assessed at home. If you're needing to be accompanied to an assessment, but your carer, friend, or relative wasn't available that day, this may count in effect as an example of having a good reason within the questions being required, not getting enough notice of assessment or request for information. And if you if you are asked to go to a medical assessment, and you should have had at least 7 days notice. This is repeatable information. Make sure the Department of Work and Pension know about anything that could make you vulnerable. For example, if you have a mental health condition, the Department of Work and Pension should do extra checks before deciding what a vulnerable person is fit for work. If you refuse to take part in a medical assessment, good reasons include religious beliefs and anything caused by the medical condition itself. If alcohol or drugs meant you couldn't take part in an assessment, this can count as a good reason if it is connected to your condition. For example, if you are being treated for addiction. If your condition disability has gotten worse, you can ask the Department of Work and Pension for a new assessment. You will need to send evidence to show that your condition has changed. Find out to ask for a new assessment. Check then what happens after the decision. The Department of Work and Pension will usually reassess your limited capability for work or limited capability for work related activity in future, unless your health condition or disability is permanent. They might reassess you every 1, 2, or 3 years. They might also reassess you if you start work. When you won't be reassessed again, in this circumstance, the Department of Work and Pension will only decide you don't need to be assessed again. If it is clear what your medical condition is, the Department of Work and Pension have assessed you as having a limited capability for work-related activity. If your medical condition is lifelong and will always be present, if there is no realistic chance of you getting much better, if you will always have a limited capability for work-related activity, these are some of the elements of the information of conditions under which you might not be required for further assessment. If you're waiting for a decision, if you haven't heard anything after 8 weeks, add a note to your online account asking why you haven't had a decision yet. You can also ask for a copy of your report. If you have had, if you don't have an online account, you can call the Universal Credit line. Go online, like I said, watching this video and the rest of the video to find online on gov.uk or on Citizen Advice public website. You will find something there known as the Universal Credit Line. Continue watching. Thank you so much for your support. And leave a comment below. And click like, share the video with family and friends. So you can find out how to use Video Relay on YouTube channel. Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Calls are free from mobiles and landlines. Thank you so much for watching. We're looking at activities and descriptors for Universal Credit. If you don't meet the descriptors, limited capability for activity, for work activity, activities and other descriptors, limited capability for work-related activities and descriptors. If you can't work because you are sick or disabled, the Department of Work and Pension, DWP, used two sets of activity to assess your condition. One set of activities is used to decide if you have a limited capability for work, LCW. The other set is used to decide if you have a limited capability for work-related activity, LCWRA. Each activity is divided into specific tasks called descriptors. This information is repeatable as already they are contained in the other videos. These are repeatable to illustrate context other than the ones previously contained in the other videos. Watch this video and the rest of the videos. Thank you so much. Each activity is divided into specific tasks called descriptors. There are separate lists of descriptors for limited capability for work and limited capability for work-related activities. For most questions, the limited capability for work-related activity descriptors is the same as the limited capability for work-related work descriptors that gets 15 points. As discussed in the previous video, 15 points is the maximum point for each element of descriptors. Department of Work and Pension will look at your capability for work as if it is most of the time. So they will take into account good, average, and bad days. For example, on a bad day, if your condition might mean you can do less. There are also information online. You can go and look at various information there. Gov.uk, Citizen Advice public website, as would from time to time be directed as you access those supports. Continue watching. Thank you so much for your help, and I'm so grateful you came. And also leave a comment below, share with family and friends. Thank you so much. So you might get limited capability for work or limited capability for work-related activity without meeting the descriptors of either. If either they have been a risk to yourself and also to others, if you didn't have limited capability for work or limited capability for work-related activity, this includes any risk in traveling to work or a work-related activity. If you have an uncontrolled life-threatening disease, if you can find out, you can actually always find out what counts as a risk to health or an uncontrolled disease. Thank you so much for your support, for watching. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and leave a comment below. Click like, click notification bell, and share the video with family and friends. Limited capability for work, activity, and descriptors. You must score 15 points to prove you have a limited capability for work. This can either be from one descriptor or a total from more than one descriptor. The 15 points can be from either the physical functions descriptors or the mental or cognitive and intellectual capabilities descriptors. The points can also be from a combination of two sets of descriptors. Part 1, physical functions, activity descriptors points. Number 1, mobilizing unaided by another person without walking, with a walking stick, a manual wheelchair, or other aid, if sight aid. Normally, or could reasonably be worn or used. These are actually activities. An example of activity in the equivalence descriptors could be: number 1, a count unaided by another person, either 1, mobilize more than 50 meters on level ground without stopping in order to avoid significant discomfort or exhaustion. Thank you so much for watching. You get 15 points for this. Or number 2, repeatedly mobilize for 50 meters within a reasonable time scale because of significant discomfort or exhaustion. D, count unaided by another person, mount or descend 2 steps even with support of a handrail, you get 9 points. C, count unaided by another person, either 1, mobilize more than 100 meters on level ground without stopping in order to avoid significant discomfort or exhaustion, you get 9 points as well. Number 2, repeatedly mobilize 100 meters within a reasonable time scale because of significant discomfort or exhaustion, you get also 9 points there. D, count unaided by another person, either 1, mobilize more than 200 meters on level ground without stopping or in order to avoid significant discomfort or exhaustion, number gets 6 points. Or number 2, repeatedly mobilize 200 meters within a reasonable time scale because of significant discomfort or exhaustion, you get 6 points. And E, none of the above, you get 0 point. Number 2, standing and sitting. Thank you so much for your support. Continue watching. So let's look at 2A. Can't move between one seated position and another seated position located within next to one another, one to another, without receiving physical assistance from another person. You get 15 points here. And number B, you can't for the majority of the time remain at a workstation, either one standing unassisted by another person, even if free to move around, or sitting even in an adjustable chair, or 3, a combination of 1 and 2 for more than 30 minutes before needing to move away in order to avoid significant discomfort or exhaustion, you get 9 points. And C, can't for the majority of the time remain at a workstation, either one standing unassisted by another person, even if free to move around, or 2, sitting even in an adjustable chair, or 3, a combination of 1 and 2 for more than an hour before needing to move away in order to avoid significant discomfort or exhaustion, you get 6 points. Number D, you get none of the above, you get 0 points. Thank you so much for watching. Number 3, reaching. We talk about mobility. 3A, can either raise, can raise either arm, is if to put something in the top pocket of a coat or a jacket, and for that you get 15 points. And B, can't raise either arm to top of head, as if to put on a hat, you get 9 points there. C, can raise either arm above a head, either as if to reach for something, you get 6 points there. D, none of the above apply, you get 0 point. If you come to picking up and moving or transferring by use of the upper body, and arm this activity. And the descriptor would be for a can pick up and move a 0.5 liter carton of full of liquid, you get 15 points. And B, you cannot pick up and move a 1 liter carton full of liquid, you get 9 points. Number C, can transfer a light bulk but bulky object such as an empty cardboard box, 6 points. And D, none of the above applies, you get 0. Let us measure manual dexterity in number 5. 5A, in terms of activity, also in descriptive context. 5A, can't pass, can't press a button such as a telephone keypad with either hand, or can't turn the pages of the book of the book with either hand, and you get 15 points there. B, can pick up a £1 coin or equivalent with either hand, you get 15 points. Remember, 15 points being the maximum point. You can't use a pen or a pencil to make a meaningful mark with either hand. You get 9 points. You can't single-handedly use a suitable keyboard or a mouse. You get 9 points. None of the above. It's E, to apply, you get 0 point. Thank you so much for your support. Next time we meet, we continue with mobility, and as part of a continuing process in this.